This episode of Review Ad is brought to you by Transfluent, a rapid professional translation for Facebook, Twitter, and website. Visit transfluent.com and follow at transfluent_en on Twitter. All right, everyone. So welcome to the interview segment of Review Ad this week. Chris and I thought it would be fun to, talk a little bit with a company we have covered quite a bit on EduQuest, but as they are constantly adding on new exciting projects, we wanted to talk a little bit about Voxy today, and we have Greg Carey. He is one of the co-founders of Voxy and the head of product. So welcome, Greg, to Review Ad, and we are very happy to have you today.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chris, and thank you, Chris. Very happy to be here. I love what you guys are doing, and more than happy to be a part of it today, so thank you.
So Voxy is, of course, just to give a general intro, is of course known to many people as one of the first mobile applications teaching languages, and particularly you're focusing on the Latin population, of course, the growing population of Hispanics in the United States, and teaching them English. One of your newest projects is the Voxy Academy. I think you have been running this for roughly 2 months now, and Chris and I are of course interested what you have learned so far, and what were the benefits of the Voxy Academy as sort of your test lab, testing products, getting customer feedback. So excited to hear some news about this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The Voxy Academy, it's really a hybrid between a language learning classroom and a usability research and development lab. And it kind of started organically. Our pedagogy and language manager, Stephen Mayo, came to me one afternoon. He's like, he'd been an ESL teacher in Korea for years, and he came to me, he's like, I just kind of missed being in the classroom. And at the same time, we were having challenges with our design team to find, native Spanish speakers to come in and to test the product with them. And, in attempting to kind of accomplish the business needs, but also keep our team happy, Voxy Academy just kind of emerged, and it's been a great experience for getting Stephen back in the classroom, and it's been a wonderful opportunity for our entire team to keep the students as top of mind. So it's been a great input into how Voxy interacts with our students on a one-on-one basis. So it's been great.
That's what I heard from you yesterday, Chris. You are missing the classroom.
I am. No, I've often thought that, we spend all our time talking about all these great bits of educational technology and all this cool stuff, and what I really need is a test group. Gosh, what I really need is Dawson's, academy of learning something, and be able to actually use this stuff in the real world with real people and real teachers. And, when I was in the classroom, I could share with my peers and make them guinea pigs. So now it becomes somewhat theoretical, and I test things out on my kids, but it's not quite the same. So, I do think that this is actually, I think this is something that's going to have to emerge in a lot more spaces, because you can only do so much in theory and in front of a PC. There comes a point when you have to get actual people telling you how this works, and we've had focus groups for years with things, but it's when we're talking about really on the ground in the trenches work, you need a space to try that out. So I think it's a great idea, and it's bobbles around in my head all the time.
And Greg, do you think in education, let's say e-learning, online education, as we are sometimes a little bit, of course our market is different than normal tech startups, but I sometimes hear the opinion we should look more what they do, as we are a little bit behind in the curve, maybe our learning curve as a market. Do you think we we can learn this and we should do more of this testing, always verifying what we do, getting authentic feedback, and then maybe precisely for Voxy, what has been some of the user feedback and some of your learners' opinions that made you maybe shape the product in a particular direction, or also maybe giving up some things you thought would be great, but your learners thought we might not use that or need that the way Voxy thought they would need it.
No, great point. I think it's something that education and any product team can incorporate into their process. I come from a background years ago in the late 90s. I worked at a company called Sapient, and we did a lot of ethnographic research. So I would partner with a team of anthropologists, PhD anthropologists, and at the time we were working for an office supply company, Staples, and a banking company, and we were starting to really redefine how people have an online shopping experience, or how people have do online bill pay. And one of the things that we realized with this ethnographic research is that you can't really design for a screen, or a mobile device without understanding the context and the world around them. And so it's been critical for us not to just kind of look at the mobile device and say, what cool things can we do with, swiping and all the tricks and devices that come with that, but let's go into context of education. Let's bring the classroom to us. Let's watch and observe the students, and let's see what we can learn. And that kind of there's a whole spectrum of things and details that we can learn. We can understand whether or not learning with music is a good concept, and if it is, at what point do the students become excited? So let's just really get the essence about what that's about. We can also do stuff like paper prototyping. We're introducing more and more new games. Before we start to build these and invest our development resources, we want to understand, how do these students interact with it? Is it going to work, or is it not going to work? So sometimes, as you're saying, Kirsten, the value is in deciding what we shouldn't do as much as, what we should do and how we do it. So you never want to lose sight for who you're building it for. You can't. You can always come up with great ideas, but as a product design company, we're really the facilitators of innovation. And the only way to innovate and evolve is to constantly be observing and changing and adapting. So it's not what we come up with; it's what we observe and interpret for us to really deliver on the students' expectations.
Right. What do you think, or what did you set as your company focus for this year? I think I have known you for at least 2 years, I think a little bit more, and probably, or what you see in the evolution. Of course, you set yourself those milestones. So as we are still early on, or pretty early on in the year, what do you want to achieve in 2012?
Yeah, so we have our classroom every evening, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 7 to 9, and we have kind of a kind of ad hoc approach to education. We don't take a textbook and take them through chapter 1, 2, and 3. This is very kind of dynamic. So with the mission being, how can we teach our students during this 2-hour block, and what can Voxy take away from that? We're very flexible in what we teach. So we've taught everything from, teaching with music, teaching with subway maps, teaching with menus, teaching with news articles from, the New York Times and the New York Post. We try to use all the language, the authentic language that is around us, and incorporate it into that classroom setting. So those learnings kind of vary by week to week, and we even let our team kind of come up with, our developers are kind of coming up with new ways to teach and coming up with ideas and working with me and Steven to actually structure a course and a curriculum for that 2-hour period. And then they get to go in and observe and see, how that idea came to life, see how the students responded to it. So we haven't really blocked off, a chunk of, hey, this 6 weeks we want to learn this. We really want to work with the students and let them kind of define and really guide us in what we're doing. So it is this kind of dynamic relationship. Mm-hmm. And from what we've seen, students are learning, and the Voxy team is learning. So we're really encouraged by how the product is going to evolve because of it.
Well, that was my question: is how has this sort of informed your product? I mean, I absolutely understand the idea that it needs to be designed around the people using it, but what sort of specific pieces do you see, being able to implement that sort of ad hoc kind of dynamic learning, which is exactly the way it should be? How can you do that in software?
Yeah, no, that's a great question at the heart of what we're doing, and we've been doing this for about 6 weeks. So there's been a couple of features, small features that we've actually learned from and iterated and tweaked because of it. And I'll talk about a few of those examples. But we've also just learned some conceptual stuff about whether people like to learn with the weather, or small talk, or music, or movies, that has helped kind of drive our product planning and prioritization. So it lets us kind of look at our product plan and say, we were thinking of doing this music app, Learn with Music app, first, but the students seem to really have a need for test preparation maybe. Those are 2 examples, but it really helps with the high-level prioritization. Some of the more tactical stuff that we've done is we've brought in, our Android app, and we wanted to kind of test and understand how people, use speech recognition. Mm-hmm. Now, the Android has a speech recognition available in it, and what it can do is it kind of plays back what it thinks it heard. Mm-hmm. So you can imagine if you have an accent or something, it's not going to get it right 100%. So we toyed with, should we just put some sort of algorithm around it that said, hey, you were 60% of the way there, or should we actually play back how Google interpreted that speech recognition? Mm-hmm. What we found is it was really fun for the students to kind of engage and see how close they were. And it would, because you got that feedback, it gave you a place to kind of start and say, oh, maybe I'm not pronouncing my THs right. And oftentimes what it interpreted would sometimes be funny, so you would get this kind of, entertainment aspect to what we're doing. So that was like a small little tweak that we saw. The number, the rating was like, 60%, but the playback was like their eyes light up. Now that's only like our version 1 for how we're doing speech recognition. There's a lot more down the product roadmap. But learning something little like that in terms of the feedback that you give them was really valuable. We've also been looking at a concept where, we want to use authentic news. We do use authentic news to teach a language. And we wanted to create an exercise where students create a magazine. They see a suite of images, and they take that image and they put it to the appropriate news section. So this one looks like it goes to business. This one goes to sports. And then once you kind of design the layout of the magazine, you can then choose the right headings that correlate with that photo. And then you can take the copy and actually do sentence building within that copy. And so we had paper prototypes for all of these colorful photos, headlines, and broken up sentences. And the activity of creating something was really rewarding, and they were using authentic language, authentic text that was written for the news, not for a textbook, to learn. And so at the end of this, they got the fulfillment that they've created something. They've created something that could be on the front page of a newspaper. And when you can combine the activity of learning with the activity of creating, then there's this different feeling that you get. It's not like you're being instructed to, but you're going through that exercise of putting something to use. So that we got a lot of just really great, tactical feedback about, what's the attention span, when does it get boring, how long should it be. Huge value, and, as someone that's running a business, it really reduces the risk of our product development cycle because we can get all these learnings before we build and then cross our fingers and say we hope they like it.
Absolutely. If you fail, if it's even necessary, then fail fast. So,
right.
But better the way you do to really get the feedback even prior to investing time, money, effort in developing another feature of the product, and then it's not appreciated the way you had hoped it would be. And
that's outstanding.
Sorry, go on, Chris.
Oh no, I just it's really outstanding. I think this is like focus groups 2.0. It's really a far different approach than I think so many technical, especially even in ed tech. You get a lot of very smart people trying to solve some problems without taking a look at how that actually plays out in the real world. So
I think very, very cool. That every education company can offer. Undoubtedly you probably have, some type of, academic or professor or practitioner on your team, and rather than being so consumed in the current product that you have, go out and engage with the users. This is something you can offer them for free, and the payback that the business gets, is invaluable. So, whether you're in language education or K through 12 or, some specialized subject, it's important that we don't get so consumed in what we're doing without interacting with the students and I don't want to say through the guise of usability testing because there's really nothing deceptive about this, but through the partnership of educating, your target students. It just really bridges the gap between what you think you should do and what you should really do.
Right. Excellent.
Is there still places available, or is the academy full? As you told us, you have been doing this for 6 weeks, and I think with increasing popularity, or somebody in the New York City area, and of course in your targeted user group, can they still come around for these 2 hours a week?
Yeah, so we've the first 6 weeks was kind of like our own, beta of what Voxy Academy would be. We learned a lot about recruiting. We learned about, the classroom setting, where it should be, how long it should be, when we should have breaks. We learned a lot about how much we can teach in that period. And we've just started to kick off kind of our second 6-week phase, and so we're a lot more efficient in the recruitment process. Now we get anywhere from 7 to 15 people. It is still open. There is flexibility in terms of who can come. It's not capped off, and we haven't really even formalized it to the point where there's any sort of certification or anything for the students when they complete that course. I think as we evolve and get bigger and can teach even more and more, we'd like to look to that so that it can actually align with the use of our mobile and web products. But right now it's still kind of, it's more of a service and a partnership than a real accredited academy. There's a lot more learnings that we know that we have and our vision for it. Paul Dolish, our CEO and founder and good friend of mine, talked about the vision for this. And he did a consulting gig with Hearst Magazine years ago, and at their offices in New York City, they had an entire floor dedicated to the Good Housekeeping magazine. And that was, it was like, replicated a home. It had a kitchen, a living room space, and they would bring in, women to kind of, talk about, the experience that they're having there, what their priorities are. So as Voxy grows and scales, we see Voxy Academy growing to something that's far more than 7 to 10 people 2 days a week for 2 hours to having a small mini auditorium and a technology lab and really making this the centerpiece of our innovation. A lot of language learning companies in the past will take their marketing dollars and kind of package up a product, shrink wrap it, and just market. This product is fixed. It's not going to change. It's not going to evolve. Now let's market it. And what we want to do is take the reverse thinking of that and take those marketing dollars and invest it in research and development to build the best language learning product the world has ever seen. And you can't do that without engaging with the students. So the payback is that you get a quality product and you can ideally reduce your marketing costs as a result because it's so fulfilling for the students.
That's a great closing statement, I think. So thanks so much for taking the time and have this talk with us, Greg. And, everybody interested should, of course, look at Voxy.com. They are also at Voxy, on the various social media outlets. And as Greg pointed out, in the Android store and also on the App Store, right? So you will find them.
Thanks so much, guys.
Very good. Thank you very much. Have a great weekend.
Bye.